Hello, it's
Hi
Emma
there.
from Gaia Health Store, and I'm joined with the lovely Karen today. So it's not just me talking away. So hi, Karen.
Hi there, everybody. Hi, Emma. Thank you very
Hello.
much.
Sorry.
I'm looking forward to having a chat. Looking forward to this chat.
I know it's been great. So people that have been watching on YouTube or on Karen's social media or on our social media at Gaia Health Store, Karen's been giving us little bite-sized snippets of all bits about sacred geometry. So today we've got her for a full 30 minutes to chat about Karen and who she is, what she does, and also the workshop that we've got coming up at Gaia Health Store. So I can give a little intro of how we met, and then you can talk about all the lovely stuff you've been doing. So I met Karen, oh my gosh, years ago now. It was a long time ago. I'm 40 and I was 23, I think, when I met you. So that's quite a long time.
Yeah.
Not to make you feel old. I'm feeling old. So yeah, about 17 years ago. And it was when I was working in London on the Mind Body Spirit Festival, so Europe's largest MBS event. And Karen purchased a stall holder, and Karen was one of the lovely stall holders. So she's always had a special place in my heart. And now I've opened this store. I'm like, who can I speak to that does lots of good topics and lectures that can come to our store? So that's how we met years ago. So Karen, I mean, you've been doing all this stuff for years. I've been doing it for years. So yeah, do you want to give us a little bit more background on yourself, like where it all began? Yeah.
Gosh, well, it began for me around 1995, I think it was, possibly around there. I started having, I finished my serious career and I was wondering what to do. And I was standing at the sink thinking about how you'd represent abstract ideas like space and time in art, as you do, you know. And I'd had my third child and my old career was just not feasible. I had 3 children, she wasn't planned. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I need to do something. And then I started having all these weird dreams. And she was at the bottom of the bed and they went on for hours and I was making notes. And it was the first time I'd ever experienced channeling. I didn't know what it really was. And I wrote all these notes on the yellow sticky pads with shapes and things like that. And it all started kicked off when I was actually sat on the sofa and I was looking at my kids and I thought, I need to do something. And I actually shouted out, why am I here? What is my purpose? Literally just shouted it. Because I'd been working my way up the corporate ladder and knew that just had to finish. And it was like, well, why did I bother doing all the things I did? So that's when life started to get a bit peculiar.
Amazing. I'm loving this because I've not heard this background bit in detail.
Oh, no. It wasn't something we'd never really had a chat like this, have we? It's always been on this sort of business setting.
Yeah.
And so 1999, January 1999 is when I first put pen to paper and started researching. I thought all these notes will make an interesting book. And it was all about geometric shapes. And it was a really weird dream. All these letters like S words started creating spirals, and they were words that describes what spirals did, and D's for shape were shaping squares and C's for circles. Anyway, I have a background in being quite analytical and strategic and research and things like that. And my research got a bit mad, went mad. I was fitting it in around my life, and then for various reasons, and I was doing it on Sundays and squishing in bits here and there and everywhere. And eventually I printed it off and it was like this deep, and I thought, well, nobody's going to read that. I mean, it was like encyclopedia, it was everything I could find.
Yeah.
So I chopped it up into multiple books and condensed it. And I thought, well, who's going to read this? I want to share this, what I found, with people that aren't into mathematics. And because a lot of people scored sacred geometry. I didn't even know I was researching sacred geometry. I'd never heard of it. Even though I did a maths degree, geometry is part of that. And I'd certainly never heard of sacred geometry. And I certainly wasn't into spirituality. And then I discovered mantras and yantras and all that sort of thing. I thought, oh, this has been around forever. Why did this come to me? I've never been taught this. It was weird. It was one of those moments in life when you think, okay, there's definitely more to life than, because I hadn't studied this. It's information that just came to me last, and I was like, oh, I've discovered the secrets of the universe, and well, it's been around forever anyway. So I thought, well, why am I doing this then? What's the point? And I thought, well, actually, it's all about presenting the information in a way that people can understand it from the divine feminine. Because even though I did maths degree, it's almost like a tick in the box. So, okay, she can talk about it because she's done maths. It's a male-dominated world, and so okay, she's done maths. So I can talk to that type of person if I need to, all about angles and cosines and blah blah blah. But I'm an artist at heart, and I thought, no, this is all about the visual side, about feeling it, and also what does it mean, and how can we use it in a practical way? So otherwise, what's the point of it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I've taken that approach, much more to do with what does it mean and what can we do with it. And it's wonderful because a lot of people say, oh my God, finally I understand sacred geometry and what it is for, as opposed to you know, all the sort of very analytical side. And you'll have heard of the flower of light and things like that.
Yep.
Well, my model that I'm sort of touting, if you like, is called the gateway.
Yes.
And it's made out of a basic shape: square, circle, triangle, cross, and spiral. And each of those things structure allow elements of reality to have a shape, like space and time and what it is to be. So it's like a universal model, and you can use it in different ways. So depending on how you use it, it is the gateway to the heavens, or the gateway to becoming, how things actually manifest and add in the classical elements of fire and water and air and sound and things like that. So each of my books, I've got 2 out at the moment, which are, sorry, I'm just yappering on here.
No,
Is that okay?
I'm liking it. I'm literally was thinking the gateway to the heavens. I've got it somewhere lurking. It's not on my bookshelf, and I was thinking before I came on today, I was like, where did that go? Because I have got one somewhere from your.
You've got one of the originals.
I know.
You've got one of the very, very first ones, because when I met you in 2009,
yeah,
I self-published, and this book that I chopped up into bits. And it was the first one, which was just like the introduction to these basic shapes. And I self-published it because every publisher was interested, but they were like, oh, but could you do this? Or could you take out the message? Or could you not do this? Don't have so many pictures, because if anybody knows my books, I got a lot of pictures.
Yeah, show us your books. Show us,
a lot of pictures. And they were like, only have 1 or 2. And I'm like, no. And I'd been in product management and marketing internationally, so I knew how to approach this kind of thing. And I was very nervous in 2009 because all I had was this little book that I'd done. The stalls were quite expensive. And I was like, oh, is anybody going to buy this? And I covered my costs. And I think what really came home to me was there's one young man who came up and he only had £20 to his name to spend because he didn't have much money. That's all he could afford. And I met him right at the beginning. And then at the very last day, he said, I'm going to buy your book with my money. That's all I've got, and because I'd had a chat with them, and I thought, oh. And then, I mean, I have so many people who have set up businesses on the basis of reading it. And then there's my daughter's friend's grandfather loved my book, and he was reading it on his last days on this planet. Wow. Because it meant so much to him, the information. He was a spiritual man and a local healer and everything. And that was like, so for me, it is about sharing that knowledge so that people can use it in their lives positively. Yeah. That's why I do it. And I have been working for a very long time on the next ones. The third one is about actually feeling it. It's the kinesthetic experience of sacred geometry, which I started working on in 2009 when I met you, because I was doing all these talks and these people sat there going, well, they understand what I'm talking about, but how can I get them to
engage them? Yeah,
because that's what I'm all about, is how you use it, and how you feel it, because I do it through art. And so I started it then. It's taken me a very long time to build up this book. And I've been chasing publishers and things all last year and having not such great experiences. It's a nightmare industry, I tell you this. Anybody out there planning on writing a book, God bless. That's all I can say.
So have you got a publisher now?
Well, I did for my books. So I got picked up by Watkins. But then
I thought so.
I know
Yeah.
I did very, very well. But then books start to dribble a bit, and I'm there
Yeah.
pushing it, promoting it, and they start to lose interest, after that, because they're always bringing out the next new book,
The
the next new
next,
book.
yeah.
So I've actually taken the books back, and I'm going to publish them. I've got my own little publishing company now, because then I can actually, see the rewards and make more money per book, and hopefully I should be able to feed myself as I get older.
Yes.
But anyway,
Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I enjoy doing that. So yes, I've got books, but I've also moved into games based on sacred
Yes.
geometry, which was
Tell
a
me
bit of
about the
a
games, because that's new. I don't know
yeah.
anything about this with you. Yeah.
Well, that was 2018, 19. I was at my local yoga festival that my yoga teacher was doing, and I had to stand there, and she said, "Oh, would you mind sharing a gazebo with this young man who's a local publisher?" And I was like, "Okay, then he can have that corner over there." Turned out to be a fledgling liminal 11 who they do like tarot decks and books on veganism and things like that. And we were very small at the time, man and a dog, literally. And they published the Modern Witch Tarot, which I'm sure many of the people
Mm.
in might have
Yeah,
heard
they
of,
will. Yeah.
which went all like that,
Yeah.
exponential. It really just, hundreds of thousands within a very short period of time. But anyway, he and his mate who set up this company are both very into board games and card games and things like that. And I went home, and then it started getting a bit like in my first book, just games being downloaded, fully fledged, all the pieces, what you do, I'm like, okay. And it got to the point, I've got about 6 of them. I was like, okay, that's enough. Please stop, because I've only got so much life, and I've got them all lined up.
Yeah.
And the first one, which is based on tarot, because it was with them that I sort of got the idea. It's meant to have been launched 2 years ago now, because it was all in the middle of lockdown and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And then this got delayed, blah, blah, blah. And then that got delayed. And I'm just like, I've been, so now I'm just pulled right back for it until I've been told when and how that's the thing. So all the other, you have to go
Oh,
through all sorts of long processes of game testing to iron out any issues. It's not as bad as a book of complexity that I am, but it's still a lot of work involved in it.
so you've
So
got them prototyped, but we can't physically get our hands on to buy them at the moment. Oh, well, that
I will
sounds
tell
very
you when it
exciting.
happens. I will be so happy when it happens. I'll
Yeah.
be singing in the streets from fun, because it's such a long process, all of this. It really is. Anything publishing, there's so many hurdles you have to get through. And then it's like a year before, once you said, okay, that's it, before you even see it out the other end, because it has to go
Yeah.
and get printed and put in storage and blah, blah. Anyway, so a bit of mine. Get there eventually. And then obviously, as you know, went back to my first love, which is art. And that's what I wanted to be when I was in my teenage years. And my parents were like, no, just go and do maths. You're good at maths. I can remember sitting in many of my maths degrees thinking, why am I here?
Oh,
And
gosh.
everything in life, all my career and everything, all has had a place in my life. Like writing about sacred geometry, I needed that maths degree just for
Yeah.
credibility.
Yes.
And then people would say, what do you write? How do you use what you write about? And I'd waffle about business models and trying and what, and I think and you could see them glazing over, and I'm like, okay. So I started doing abstract expressionistic art, where I channel it. So I prepare my mind and I meditate. So there's none of my crap in the artwork.
Yeah.
And it's really weird what comes through. If I try to predict it and try to plan the art, it just doesn't, it really doesn't. It's not like the art I used to do, which was very much my magical think, right, I'm going to do this still life or this figure drawing, and it's quite tiring. This is it's lovely to do, it's fun. And I could talk for hours about the weird coincidences to do specific pieces that people have bought that relate to things that are going on in life. And there's one American guy, he's bought like 25 of my paintings. It's bananas. He's an art collector.
Yeah.
And every single piece he's bought has had some kind of effect or has been something to do with his life. And the two most interesting ones was one appeared with a great big cut in it. It's a tall one. It was called something to do with the spinal spirals down the spine. Anyway, it was this big cut. The painting was fine. I was like, oh my God, you know, got touches upset. And I said, well, have you had back problems or anything like that? I said, if you put the paint, stand the painting up, and exactly where the cut was, he'd had a disc removed in his back.
Oh my goodness, that's
I know.
crazy.
And when he stood in front of the thing, he could feel the energy going up and down his spine, sort of healing. It was bizarre. And then he was saying he was quite lonely and blah, blah, blah. And he bought one called, it was all about love and finding a soulmate. And then somebody he'd been friends with, they started to get a bit more da 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 da. And they were marrying each other. And
Oh
it was
my
just
God,
like,
I love that. That's amazing.
you know, within 6 months of buying the painting, it's bonkers.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you
So
teach people to channel this, like, or do you not? Can you not teach the channeling? You just do it.
tricky
Yeah.
one, because I've tried doing workshops on it,
Yeah.
and people expect you to. Can you teach me to paint like you do? No.
No.
Like you do.
Yeah.
So some people wanted me to turn them into artists magically. I mean, I have painted and drawn since I was 18.
Yeah.
I mean, I say to people, it's like learning to play the piano or something like that. You've got to practice your scales, practice, practice, practice. You play other people's stuff, da, 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 and then eventually then you just let the music flow for you, because your hands and your body know what to do. They know what colours to pick. They, you know, and so I can teach people to what it feels like to be doing channeling and everything like that. I mean, as I said, I have done workshops, and then I get people that don't want to do what we're doing and want to do their own thing. So fine. So I actually find them quite exhausting to do. It doesn't quite work out.
No.
And you've got to deal with art materials and things like that. So I think I might do them again actually, but I don't know quite how I'm going to approach it, because they're so far it's been, I come away absolutely exhausted. I'm just
Oh
and people can get very emotional.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and I'm quite an analytical people, and I'm dealing with people that are just blubbing in front of me. I don't, you know, I'm not even though I've trained in various complementary healing processes and everything, I'm not a trained psychiatrist slash
Or counselor.
counselor. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So that's another reason I don't do it, because the situation can get very emotional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's sort of quite interesting, because many years ago I started doing these channeled art pieces for people in front of them at these events exhibitions, and they were just this is ones where it's like a doodle. Literally just draw things, and then I interpret them for people, and then I ask them to take away and burn it, and they were unbelievably accurate, really, really, really very good.
Wow.
And I stopped doing that, because then it got into, you have to have insurance and da 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 da. And I was the only one person doing it. And now you go to these events and there's lots of people.
Yeah, I was going to say there is.
Of guides or messages or anything like that. So I was like, oh, okay, so this is obviously entering the psyche. It's a bit like crystal shops, you know, it's starting to become a bit more prevalent, as are spiritual artists, which is something I've just written an article about. What is a spiritual artist? Because you never used to be able to say that. I never used to say to people, I've been doing this for a long time now.
No.
You know, in the mainstream art world, which is an area I'm sort of dabbling in at the moment to get into galleries and things like that. 10, 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say to people, oh, I channel my art, it's spiritual, blah, 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 it's sacred geometry, because they'd have looked at me like,
yes.
But now that's it's become more acceptable.
Yeah.
People understand what that means. It can be any subject matter. It's not a genre per se. It's about you and how you approach your art, you know.
Yeah.
What you're trying to represent, and basically you are a spiritual person yourself, and you may or may not meditate before you do it. You may or may not be doing a spiritual subject matter. It could just be trees, but you are doing connectivities, whereas my subject matter is actually spiritual as well. So I'm doing an article on that at the moment. What is a spiritual artist? So what
can we expect from your workshop? So we've got a few more minutes before we wrap up. So yeah, 23rd of March. It's coming up soon in our shop, Gaia Health Store in Southampton. I have to say that because you might be sharing it and people want to know where your workshop is. Yeah, 2 till 4. We're going to do a couple of hours with you.
Yeah. So essentially what I always start off with is a general chat about what sacred geometry is and some few basic shapes, just so people can understand what it is that they are and what they do. And then I'm going to do meditation based on sacred geometry, just to show people how you can use sacred geometry in meditation in a lovely, gentle, intuitive way, and it's combined with nature as well, imagery. For those that don't do guided meditations, I can adapt that. And also we're going to do some of this kinesthetic sacred geometry I was talking about, where you can actually feel it and actually relate to it, feel what it actually does to you physically.
Yeah.
So, and then also maybe explore ways that you can use it in your life.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Amazing. Yes, I know. There's
a bit of a, this is what it's about. Now let's try it out and let's see how you can use it, folks.
How you can use it, yeah. So you'd be able to take something away from it, and then obviously you can explore deeper. You've got your books. I'm sure you do lots of other events and things. And yeah, we touched upon the Merkaba. Yes, show me your lovely. Yes, because I've only seen the one I've got is orange. I'm sure it's orange.
Yeah, no, it's this one basically. It's a new cover because it's a new edition. You have to do a new cover. You can't use old covers. So that's the one that was orange. It's the new cover.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Lots of people might know that one because it's a new cover on that. So yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, we touched upon it when we were talking about the Merkaba, and I've been using the Merkaba and I've been going off world. So that shape I just never have used sacred geometry or shapes. I've done kind of visualization or breath, but it's really powerful. So I think people will really get a lot from this, because I don't feel like, from talking to my customers, that a lot of people like me use shapes or have thought about it at all. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, very exciting.
Fabulous. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. So I think, yeah, we'll wrap it up now. I don't know if you're going to do one more little video for us. You might, if we're lucky, before the workshop. But if not, we'll be seeing Karen on the 23rd. Yeah, as you can hear from today, Karen is a wealth of knowledge of maths, art, nature, meditation. So yeah, it's going to be a really, really great workshop to join us. And I'll pop the link to purchase that in the comments below, or the description. And yeah, I don't know if you've got anything else to add before we wrap up, Karen.
No, thank you very much. This has been great catching up properly with you. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant, lovely, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.